Good morning on this dark January morning. Nice and warm there. Thank God for that. Yeah, the rest of the world seems to be sort of like, or the northern hemisphere seems to be suffering from cold, but we're doing all right, which is good. Yes, anyway, I just want a quick chat about, manufacturing, British manufacturing. Made in Britain. Made in Britain. I run a company, I've been running a company for about 32 years now that's manufacturing. And the truth is, I started it because Margaret Thatcher at the time was destroying the British manufacturing industry. So I thought, what's the most subversive thing we could do? And let's start making stuff. Yeah. And selling it. And it's kept me and my kids. It's made me go crazy. I've not been rich. I've not made loads of money. It was sort of like set up on a slightly different brand of capitalism from the let's get money and expand and grow and everything like that. I did it from a more perspective of if you think about sort of like medieval crafts and things like that, like how they worked. It's slightly before sort of unbridled capitalism. You had people who made things and sold them and were sort of craftsmen, artisans, and it's sort of like that. And we manufacture stuff using these and a lot of heat, and we sell it. So we start with sand because we make glass. The company's called Bristol Blue Glass Limited. Check us out on Google. We do quite a lot. We're quite good. Yeah, we have a load of people working for us just above the minimum wage. Yeah, I'm sorry, we can't afford to pay anybody any more than that at the moment. In fact, to be quite honest, I actually don't even get the minimum wage out of my company. But that's my decision because I'm not complaining, because that's the way I run my life. I don't need any more money because all I do is I pay my mortgage, I pay my tax, I pay my electricity and fuel bills, and that's it, really, a bit of food. And because I don't drink, don't smoke, don't go out, don't do anything else like that, so that's it, really. And there is sort of ways, I do a bit of musicianship, and sometimes, a couple of years, about back in 2015, I earned a few grand, actually, as a musician. But, don't tell the tax man. And basically, so I subsidise myself slightly on top of everything. So on paper, it looks like I'm in absolute penury, but I'm not complaining. The thing about it is what amazes me is we were having a meeting the other day at work, and I was talking to them about these initiatives that we're seeing around, that Made in Britain. This is the title of this video, Made in Britain. And I said there's a lot of initiatives to supporting Brexit, to sort of like the Made in Britain things. And one member of staff said, if it's got anything to do with Brexit, I'm not having anything to do with it. And I said, well, hang on, that's sort of like self-defeating, isn't it? She said, I don't care if there's anything to do with it. You Remainers out there, you need to get sort of like on board with this sort of Brexit thing, or the being in denial and being thinking all you're going to do is drag everybody down, but you're going to drag yourselves down first. It's not good. You're going to have to sort of like face up to the fact you're in denial about Brexit. I'm not facing and we got to work together, and we got to pull together, and we can do things. And look, I'm not a great believer in social sort of like people sorting things out. Another member of my staff actually doing some really good work and lovely, and I said to her, I want to give you some more money because you're really doing some good work. And she said, no, whatever you do, don't. I said, why not? She said, my credits will get, I don't know what she was talking about, because I've never signed on or anything like that ever in my life. I've just been self-sufficient, so I just don't believe in, if you don't believe in sort of like the welfare state as such, then I just don't have anything to do with it. So if I've been on my ear, which I have been several times in my life, I've just made stuff. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But anyway, she says, I can't have any more money because it would affect my Yeah, and I said, well, you're stuck. You're stuck there. And she said, yes, I know, but she said, it suits me. So, Jesus Christ, she said, it stops people getting on with their lives. It stops people developing. Yes. Now, I mean, if you're unemployed or if you want to not, get employment and you haven't got employment, one of the best things you can do is make stuff. Just make stuff. Put some labour, put some energy into it, put something. And as you make stuff, don't care what it is, you will get ideas because you're making stuff and you're making stuff. So you start off making one thing, you make one thing, it might be shit, it might be rubbish, it might be anything but it will give you ideas for other stuff to make. And sooner or later, you make stuff that other people will want and covet, and they'll say, I need that. And you say, well, here you are. That's X amount of dollars. Thank you very much. And, because my company had been taking sand and making it into high-end products for years, and everything like that. And we've been subsidising the poorer countries in the EU without getting any benefit from the EU. The reason I voted for Brexit vis-a-vis for my company and for the employment of people, to grow the employment of the people that I employ, was because we got nothing from the European Union except more legislation and sort of more hurdles to actually fulfill our job. We got to fulfill this thing. We've got the climate levy, we got all this, and they were taking money away from us, all left, right and centre, and we weren't getting anything back. Yeah? They just pushed on more and more and more paperwork and red tape to stop us getting on with our job and making these wonderful products. Yeah. So I voted for Brexit, and I know all my millennial employees didn't like that, but we'll wake up. Well, fingers crossed for the thing. But if you want to support us with your wallets. Support us by buying stuff that is made in Britain. It's going to be more expensive than cheap Chinese shit that's imported, right? Or anything from anywhere else where they got slave labour. But when you buy in Britain, the money stays in Britain. Made in Britain, by British, it stays in Britain. And that money goes into the economy, and it's a self-feeding mechanism, and that's how wealth is generated. It's not rocket science. It's easy to generate wealth. You basically take something, you apply energy to it in the form of labour and possibly heat and electricity or things like that. You make it into something else, a lot more valuable than that. And you sell it, and you've created the difference in the cost. That is wealth generation. Okay, that's where all the houses came from in this country. So all the buildings came from, all the roads and everything like that, by manufacturing. Okay, that's how we made our wealth, and that's how we got to go back to making our wealth now. Just go out and make something, and then sell it. And your life will turn around.